Paul, do you remember when you were 2 years old? Yeah. You remember eating broccoli? You still like broccoli? What? But you still like formula also? That's terrible. Welcome to another episode of the Mighty Code Coder. I'm Rob Fitzgerald, here to make you great and help you innovate. Well, I feel like we took a little break. We haven't brought you a new episode in a while. With that said, I have to admit, we are taking a new path here at the Mighty Code Coder. In my constant attempt to abstract CS curriculum to the max, I fell upon a great company who has done just that. AWS, Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services has taken cloud technology, which is an API, a server request response, if you will, and has abstracted it into smaller, understandable parts. In my studies of this massive organization, I've been to a one-day AWS summit in Anaheim and a 5-day AWS reInvent in Las Vegas. Amazon's been generous enough to deem me as an AWS Cloud ambassador, and I guess I'm fulfilling my duties here by announcing it and telling you about AWS. Since reInvent, I have taken the AWS Certified Solution Architect course from Cloud Guru. Thank you very much, Ryan Kronenberg. This very live stream it's actually not live, we're actually just filming this, is a takeoff from one of Ryan's final labs from the course. So thanks again, Ryan. I hope that I do your lecture justice. So let's get going. Okay, so in order to do this lab, you'll have to log into AWS Console, and we will be using the AWS Poly, Lambda, and E3 services. Also, we'll be logging into the developer.amazon.com site to launch this skill. All right, so the first thing we want to do is create an S3 bucket. Before we do that, I want to go back and let everyone know what class they should be signed up for. So let's go ahead and open up Safari, and I'll show you what we had to do in order to get my classes to do this project. And this project is going to be Alexa Skill Kit, and we are going to write our first Alexa skill. And this is outside the realm of adhesive. And usually adhesive is giving you permission to use AWS for all of its projects. But if you go outside its projects, you don't have the permission to use AWS. In fact, you just have a starter account, which gives you very little permissions. So what I had to do is provision my own class called Alexa 101, and I was able to upload a file with all my students' emails so they could partake in the class. So I want to show other ambassadors how that happens, and then show my students how you now access that course. All right, so let me first go into my adhesive. And from adhesive, I'm going to use AWS Educate. All right, and there it is right there. All right, and if you remember right, going into this, if you're part of AWS Educate, you log in with your personal email, and you get to a point where you have this screen here where you have this guy with a floating computer. Now, if you look at that, it says AWS Educate Starter Account. All right, that's very low provisioning, low permissions, just takes care of all your adhesive stuff. So what I did, if you're an ambassador or if you're a teacher and you need more permissions, you could go into this classrooms and credits, and you could create your own class right through this button here. All right. What Amazon does is Amazon tries to only allocate the services you're going to use. All right, they don't want to give you more allocation if you're not going to use it. Okay, this is a security feature. So if I wanted to do the Alexa skill, I know I need Lambda, I know I need an S3, but I also need a Poly. Okay, so for this classroom, I go ahead and provision this one, and that should take care of this Alexa skill. You could do up to 3, so sometimes you could do a RoboMaker also. All right, but I have another class that I'm creating that we use for our Mars rover 2020, and I'm going to actually just provision this section here. After that, you can bring in your classroom details. Okay. And then after that, you could get a list of email addresses from your students and upload them here. And that's what I did. And then, so if I go to my classrooms, you could see that this got provisioned. It took like 3 or 4 days. So give yourself time. And you can see that with Alexa 101 skill, that's what I called Alexa 101, they give the kids an extra $50. And this is AWS, this is Vocarium. Okay, it's a third-party contractor to do the educational part for AWS. And so they originally give you $75 with your starter account. Now they give you another $50 to do this. So that's going to be really awesome. I'm not sure we're going to use any services that cost us money, but you have 50 just in case. And you can see I invited 58 students, and 13 of them actually joined. So 58 got the email, and 13 of them actually answered the email and joined it. And so let's say, for instance, not everybody joined or they weren't here that day. You could click on this, and here is my classroom. All right. And then here are all the students that signed up in the email that I uploaded. And then you have some people that enrolled. Some people are sitting there still. And if I have to re-invite people, I could do it through here. Or if people didn't do their email, I could actually do, your email here and invite them individually. Okay, whatever it might be. Okay, so I will. People that didn't get in, I will try to have your email. Someone will write your email down for me, or you just come up here and type it right in the computer. Okay, but for right now, I actually have the classroom ready, so I'm going to go to the classroom. Now, if you're a student, that classroom, I think, ends up right here, and it says classroom. You click on it, you'll see Alexa 101. So you can do that now and follow along with this lecture. All right, so far so good. Paul, how you doing? You keeping up? You're not keeping up? Well, everyone else is keeping up. You're just slow. Yeah, the kids are really good. They don't get mad. You always get mad. All right, just try to keep up. All right, very nice. All right, so now that if you're an ambassador or you're a teacher, it has all your classes here, and you see there's that Mars rover one I told you about. I have other kids joining that one. And then I could go right into Alexa skills, and from here, things start looking very familiar. Here's the Vocarium. I think that's how you say it, Vocarium. Okay, and they give you $50, and someone's getting sick. AWS console. Is that you, Philip? Jiminy Christmas. Okay, so look at this is the main console. All right, so at first, when we first started this, I know if you guys are anything like me, you got confused, like way too many services. And these are all the services, but don't get anxious. You don't need to know all these services. All right. And the ones you do need to know, I will definitely do a Mighty Code Coder on. But for this one, we're just going to use or start with an S3 bucket. Okay. So let's talk about S3. Here it is, S3 right here. AWS is basically, it's cloud computing. Basically, you're going to create a computer in the cloud. All right, so you're going to have to provision everything, the computer, how fast you want, how much storage, security, your network, everything. And at the end of it, you'll have a computer that's as fast, if not faster, more powerful than the one you're on currently. And that's neat, but you got to set it all up. So the first thing you do is set up the storage. All right, so S3 is simple storage. Do we know what that stands for again? Keenan's my producer for this show. There's Keenan. That's great. That's awesome. That's perfect. So do you know what S3 stands for? Remember, there's 3 S's. Do you remember the 3 S's? I don't. 3 S's? Simple storage. Obviously, that's 2 of them. Simple and storage. Secure? Simple, secure storage? I don't know. Yeah, it's nice having a producer because they can look that stuff up as I continue with the lesson. All right. So here is the bucket. okay, they create something called a bucket. I hope you're still recording. All right. So this bucket is replacing the word folder. Okay. So before you used to make a Word file or a PowerPoint and you used to store it in a folder, or you'd save it on your desktop and then you had to drag it into folder and then take the folder, send it up to Dropbox.
It means simple storage service.
Oh, I should have known. Simple storage service. Everything ends with service, like AWS, Amazon Web Services. And sure, simple storage service is that. So, and the service is all those pieces. Did you just quit my show? Okay. All right. So there we go. We're still getting good at this. Anyway, so we're creating buckets instead of folders now. Okay. And this is how I put it. All right. So think about the folder you use for school and all the papers you have in it. They fit nicely, right? Well, what if you, in that folder, you put a knife or a fork? Not a knife. A fork or a spoon. How about a plate? Put a plate in that folder. Now things are starting to get wonky and weird, right? All right. So a folder suggests only papers, but a bucket suggests you could put any object in there. And that's what Amazon did here. They want you to use a bucket to store objects. That's what it is. So no more just files and folders. You're going to put in there movies, MP3s, videos. And if you think in your head about all those things, you always think that there's some kind of object and they'd be better in a bucket than a folder, right? So that's kind of what they're doing with the bucket. It's kind of catching on. So think of at home, you're cleaning your room and you're putting stuff in a bin. Whatever kind of object it is, you're throwing in a bucket, not a folder. All right. So I don't want to see people. I'll probably see students come to school tomorrow with forks and knives in their folder, but it just doesn't fit very nice in there. So bucket's a better word here. So I think they're going to change it for the better for all of computers. So we're going to create a bucket to store a bunch of objects. All right. So I want you to click on, and here's some other buckets I already created from my earlier periods. And so I'm going to create a bucket here. And remember, these buckets are unique in name. Okay. I'll type Microsoft. That bucket's probably already going to be taken. Or I guess it was me. I guess it wasn't. Yeah, there it is. It's already taken. Or I could type in McDonald's. They're probably already taken. I feel like it's not taken all of a sudden. I feel like I typed this before and they were taken and now they're not. But we did have someone in my class actually put the name Bucket and actually was able to get the name Bucket. That was awesome. But anyway, so let's put in some unique name. Remember, these are unique for the world. You can't have any bucket name across the entire world. So let's make it unique. So I'm going to say my Alexa skill. I'm going to do my, so I'm doing one for every class. So I'm going to do it this class. So I'm going to do period 6. And I'm going to put my initials. And I'm going to put the year 2020. Now, I kind of went overboard. There's really no one that's going to use that. And so at the very bottom, let's see if I can get to the bottom here. At the very bottom, there's this create button. So you could go ahead and create that bucket. And again, if you want to think of this as a folder you're creating on your desktop, on your computer, you could do that. It is exactly the same thing. All right. So as of when it first makes it, it says buckets and objects not public. Okay, so Amazon is defaulting to the highest security. You know, I have 2 routers in my classroom, and when you get a router, it's automatically open. And if you want to close it or make it secure, you actually have to go into the settings and secure it and make it not public, which is I always thought very strange. But Amazon goes the other way. It's going to be blocked. It's not going to be public until you say you want it to be public. All right, so that's for security. So to do that, I'm going to make it public by clicking this, put a checkbox here, and then you'll have this button right here open up. And you'll see that it says block all public access. All right, and so when I undo that, now it is going to be public and people can access it. And in fact, they're so serious about security, you actually have to confirm that. Are you sure you want this to be public? And you say yes. All right, now if you get an error here to start, I want you just to hit this refresh. See this refresh right here? Refresh it. And then it says, see now objects can be public. This is so great because objects will be public. They'll actually create a URL for all your objects. So they'll actually be URLs. And you used to get a URL, like if you uploaded a file to Dropbox and then you said, yeah, share it. Once you shared it, it became, it kind of had a URL. Here now, once things go into your bucket, right away they're shareable because they'll have a link. And we'll show you that in a second. All right, now let's go and actually let's provision these public settings though. You could see these provisions or these policies just like the school I'm at. We have secure gates, right? So we're secured campus. And in order to get in, you either have to be a South Hill student or someone on staff. And that's a policy, right? That's our policy here. Well, you could have policies to get into your bucket also. In order to do that, you could click on the bucket. Well, actually, let me go back. Oh, yeah, this is the one. All right. My Alexa skill, period 6. And if I click permissions, there's my bucket policy. Okay. And so I'll click that. And Ryan Kuenenberg also gave me the policy. This is going to be programmable. It's going to be actually a code that's going to allow me to provision this bucket policy. And I gave that code to all my students in my Google Classroom. So I'm going to go there now. And I'm going to go to classroom.google. Hopefully I'll have to log in again. No, I don't. And I'm going to go to my intro CS class, and there is my bucket policy right there. So all students could grab that policy. And when you do, it just opens up like this, and you just have to copy and paste that policy. And if you look, and I know students have seen this before, but they probably didn't look too closely at it, but this is an object. Okay, and you know it's an object by these curly brackets. See these curly brackets? All right, that's JSON notation for what an object is. Okay, so this is a bucket policy object, and it has another object inside of it, okay, called statement. And actually, the statement is actually an array, okay, of objects. So inside the statement array, you have another object. Okay, so this is an object. This is a object inside an array inside another object. So the curly brackets are objects, and the staple brackets are arrays. So JSON is really, really neat. It's used a lot, and it's called key value pairs. So you have one side's a key, and the other side is the value, and they're paired up. And in this one, you actually have S3 objects. It's allowing other people to come in, anybody, to come in and access the objects that are in this S3 bucket. For what bucket I want? Well, we're going to say this bucket right here. People could come in and grab these pieces. And so I'm going to copy the ARN. And ARN stands for Amazon Resource Name. All right. And so this basically says anyone that wants to come in and borrow an object from this bucket, they can. It's allowed. All right. So very nice policy. And when you get done doing it, you hit save. Some of the problems some students have had is they actually take this / out. That's some file system stuff. You have to make sure that, so anything in this bucket can be accessed. All right. So that does that. Now let's go back to S3, and you might see that right now it's not orange, okay, like these other ones. And it takes a little bit to provision this. And so it's not right now. So let's go into Poly, we'll create our Poly part. And when we come back, we're not only going to put an MP3 in this bucket, but it should now be open public to it. Okay. All right. So let's do that now. So in order to go to another service on AWS, you go to services. All right. And you see Poly is right here. But if you can't find it, if you don't feel like searching around, just type in Poly. And then you can click it like that. All right. And then in here is Poly. What Poly does is this is a service that actually takes text and speaks it. Okay. So it'll be a robot that'll speak it. And this will be the robot genders and their dialect. And you could select anything. I know this is probably behind my head here. Let me move this to where you guys can see it. So I could select the dialect from what you want. And we'll just keep it at US English. You guys can look at it on your own. I'm going to switch the voice to Matthew. All right. And then you'll have to figure out what you want your Amazon Alexa skill to say. I'm just building one on AWS services. So I'm going to go AWS S3. And I'm going to click on Amazon S3 and just grab this blob of text and paste it into here. All right. And then when I get done, I can listen to it if I want. All right. I'm not going to listen to it because you can't hear it. It doesn't. My studio won't project this out loud, so I'm not going to listen to it. I'm just going to synthesize it to an S3 bucket. All right, and guess what bucket that is? That bucket is the one that we created for the class, which is my Alexa skill period 6 RPF 2020. There you go. Synthesize it. All right, looks like it's good. And then I'm going to go back to the S3 service. I want to spend some time to to show you what Amazon did here. If you're going through a lot of services, they just put a history up here and you go back through them right here. I mean, it's not hard to find S3 down here or type it in, but it's nice that they have a history right here so you could quickly get back to your services. All right, so if I go to that, you now see this is public. So remember, this wasn't an orange public before. And now, if I click on the bucket, there is my MP3. That's nice, right? So I now have an MP3. If I click on this MP3, if I do the checkbox by the MP3, you'll see this MP3 has a URL right here. Okay. Now I'm going to need that in my Alexa skill. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to control click it and copy link. Okay. I don't know why it's going to the next one, and then I'm going to go into my Alexa skill inside my Amazon developer. Okay. And this is the point where we're going to do that. But this was where we're going to stop this film and we're going to pick this up next time. But what I want you to do in the meantime is I want you to go to developer.amazon.com and I want you to sign in to this service. And if you don't have an Amazon developer account, I want you to click here and create a developer account. Okay. One last thing I'll do before I let you go. The account you want to make is the same account that you have with your Alexa, your Echo. So at home, if you have an Echo, or your parents have one, then you want to try to get the email that they logged on to that Alexa with. So as soon as you get done doing your skill, it'll automatically be done on your Alexa at home. Okay? So that's nice. So right here at this time, I want to invite you to go on this tour of AWS with me. And I would really like to start a meetup or a group on the subject. So leave a comment below if you think that's something, or if you think that is something that you want to do. But for now, we'll see you next time. Leave comments below. Tell me where I went wrong. And Paul, what? Are you mad? Why are you mad? Oh, yeah. So please subscribe. And until next time, always try to make you great and help you innovate. Out.